Wasn't necessarily the prettiest weekends, but the Phillies managed the split in the Coward 4-game series, and now they're off to Wrigley Field. Join us now on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Happy Monday to all. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli in with you. Hope everybody had a great weekend out there. Good morning to Chris Slemmer, who appears to be the first in the chat. We appreciate you. You're always very on time, Chris. Renee, wasn't the prettiest weekend in the world, but my goal before the All-Star break with the injuries they have right now was just to go 500. Tread water, keep your head above the water. And it wasn't pretty, and Saturday was frustrating, and Ranger getting hit is weird. We'll get into all of it, but they split the series. Yeah. All in all, no blood. It is what it is. It's just like, all right, cool.
It is wild how much things change depending on circumstances, because there was a time where some of us, you mostly, complain about split series. We would be complaining about going 500, but this weekend I kind of was like, if they can continue to just grind out wins and every series you get a win or two every series, honestly, as you know, going 500, you'll be in a good spot through the All-Star break.
Somebody has to win. Nobody won the series this weekend.
And
it's
we're back
stupid.
Talking about the split series.
It's stupid. 4-game series are
But
stupid.
another situation also where we find ourselves going into the 4th game of the weekend, hoping for a split series. That happened last split series, I believe, or one of the recent split series that they had, where you're going into game 1 like, we hate split series. It's a coward series. It's participation trophy. You can't tie. But then by game 4, you're like, oh no, actually we want the split series. We don't want you to lose the
they're
series.
Totally beneficial when you're down 2-1 going
then
into
you
the
are
4th
rooting
game.
for the split series.
But if you're up 2-1 and you end up splitting, it's coward shit. So it's very simple the way the 4-game series breaks down. This was a beneficial one for the Phillies because they pulled it out.
Fortunately, they have done enough so far to set themselves up nicely that the next, few weeks don't have to be pretty. Just get through. 500 is a good marker. I like that, to just get through and keep your head above water.
Yeah, 500 could be ambitious with some of the teams you got to face.
500 would be great with some of the teams they have to face.
You do have an athletics thrown in there. Hopefully that can help balance it some. But you have a trip to Wrigley this week. You have a trip to Atlanta. You have the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we'll get into some of the injury updates as Bryce Harper. I'm going to play doctor today. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think what they're doing is wrong. We'll get into it. But we do have some injury updates on the Phillies. But all in all, the weekend, let's start with yesterday. I was there with the family.
Yeah.
Are
you okay?
Yeah. Well, Ranger, it's good to see him have lows,
Yeah, but you got to finally see him in person, and he wasn't our usual Ranger. He struggled a little bit, and he struggled with you there. Like, maybe that was the pressure. He knew. Yeah. He knew. He's like,
he knew his stalker was
James
in
Edward
attendance.
Lynch is here.
Yeah.
I can't mess up. And then he messed up. So it's you. Don't ever go back.
Yeah, okay. I'll never go back to another Ranger game.
Let's just set that.
I do get a Zach game at Wrigley Field on Wednesday night, so hopefully he doesn't feel the same pressure. I have 2 thoughts on Ranger Suarez, who could still theoretically start the All-Star game. I have a feeling Zach Wheeler will probably get the nod because it's kind of about sex appeal. It is the All-Star game.
Yeah.
But Ranger, theoretically, luckily they took away Trea Turner's non-deemed error and made it an error over the weekend. So he subtracted 2 earned runs from his ERA. So theoretically, Ranger, just has had a little bit of a hiccup recently. I have 2 thoughts on it. First thought is, a lot of great pitchers go through a very tiny dead arm period in a season, except for the true freaks. They are able to kind of skip those, but most pitchers that go 200 innings a year and are very good are usually going to have a 2 or 3 game period during the course of a season where it's just kind of like dead-armed. And right now, Ranger, to this point in the season, I believe has thrown as many innings as he has through a season so far. So it could be a little bit dead-armed. He could just be a little bit fatigued.
Yeah.
The other thing, which is the X and O's in baseball, is I think other teams scouting is doing a better job against Ranger, because you saw it yesterday. By the way, Berger is just like an all-time Phillies hate for me. But veteran hitters like Josh Bell and Jake Berger,
annoying,
we're going out there and jumping first pitch. So, I think teams have caught up to Ranger a little bit in the scouting department, where they know he throws a lot of those first pitch strikes and likes to get ahead and make it a pitcher's count. And now they're trying to jump that first pitch. So I'll be interested to see in his next start how Caleb Cotham and Ranger Suarez attack that first pitch in particular.
Yeah.
So I think those two things kind of are contributing to a little 2-game kind of hiccup period.
And honestly, I know in the chat right now it's mentioned as, and what's up, Elephant in the Room, and Big Farts Jones.
Big Farts.
What a name.
What up?
But Elephant in the Room is mentioning how Ranger hasn't been great as of late. And you can actually argue in general, the pitching has been kind of up and down. It's not just Ranger. We've seen Zach, we've seen Aaron, we've seen Matt Strom, we've seen the route Jose we talked about last week. We've seen the pitching kind of go up and down, but I think it is exactly to your point. Look at how hot this pitching staff started. The best in baseball. You had 1 through 4 were top across Major League Baseball in ERA. Your bullpen has been performing at a level that's the best across the league. And now that we're into officially July, happy July 1st. Teams are now you're going to go through teams for the second time. You're going to go through teams that have now had time, as you mentioned, to scout, to plan, to talk through it. I remember, I think it was the Rangers who was talking about how, we studied Ranger extensively. Like, we were doing all this film on him. We just couldn't actually execute what we watched. Okay, well, now teams have had even more film to look at, and they've had even more time. And for all the starting pitching, as we keep talking about the excitement of them going 7+ innings, okay, that's even more innings you get to watch them. That's even more innings as you talk about the burnout, that they're out there throwing gas, throwing, fantastic pitches, switching it up, keeping it unpredictable, change-up, sweepers, all these different things that we're seeing from them. That's hard to maintain throughout the entire season. From their end and from the side of opponents aren't going to continue to let Ranger roll through games, or Zach or Aaron or Matt Strom or whoever go through games with all these scoreless innings, because they're going to figure out a way to pounce on you. And we saw that this past weekend. I don't think it's as much about the Marlins as much as it is about the Phillies. So for, I know in the chat, as your buddy Big Farts Jones is saying, the season's cooked. I'm not overly worried. I just feel like the Phillies overall this is the natural regression you expect in kind of like the midway point of the season that you're going to see from any team that started off this strong. It's not concerning to me.
Big Farts. Bring it in here. Look me in the eyes.
Oh, no.
Come here, Big Farts. Come here. The season is not cooked. They still have an 8-game lead. All is well. Have you seen this lineup? It's very depleted. Now just add, let's say, I don't know, a JT Realmuto, a Kyle Schwarber, a Bryce Harper, a Luis Robert Jr. How are things looking now? All right, let's look forward to about 2 weeks from now, maybe 29 days from now, when you get a young 26-year-old power-hitting center fielder that could hit potentially 40 bombs in Citizens Bank Park. Oh, my God, is that Bryce Harper's music? Kyle Schwarber?
Talk optimism to me,
Could
JD.
be back, soon. And JT Realmuto shortly after the break. The season is far from cooked, my friend. It's just a little hiccup. So Big Farts, my friend, my confidant, the season is not cooked, my friend. Keep the faith, Big Farts.
Hashtag Big Farts. No, it's exactly that. This is they always say the calm before the storm. This is like the storm before the calm.
This is just the survive. You just got to survive.
You literally have to just keep in perspective everything we're seeing from the next couple weeks. It's not the end all be all. These aren't injuries, and we'll talk about the timeline and everything.
These lineups suck.
These lineups they're rough. They're rough. I will give you that. But as you mentioned, there are positives. I have some spins, some spin zone we can work through today.
I mean,
this is our time, guys.
You want to start the positives? Look, you can give a huge shout out to Nick Castellanos. We talked about this team.
Yes.
you know, guys stepping up when others go down. Nick Castellanos, 4 for 5 yesterday. What, 3 RBIs?
3 RBI day for Nick Castellanos, who everybody's ready to DFA and trade and get rid of him.
I mean, that was a huge day for him. They played some small ball yesterday, and they won. And Nick Castellanos going 4 for 5 with 3 ribbies was a big part of it.
And that's the big thing that this opportunity is going to show. When Trea Turner went down, it was Edmundo Sosa. We got a little bit more out of Bryson Stott. We definitely got more out of, Alec Bohm, Bryce Harper in general. But now, without Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, on top of already missing JT Realmuto, who is going to step up for the Phillies? We saw Nick Castellanos step up with 3 RBIs. As you talk about 4 hits. Nick Castellanos, this was huge for him. It's a great opportunity. He's been making some good plays out in right field. He's been making some solid plays at bat. He's stepping up. He's showing that the slump is over. He's a lot more consistent. He's been talking about his hand placement, his swings, figuring things out with his balance in his swings, and it's translating perfectly right now when needed. Trea Turner, who's been kind of up and down since he came back.
Birthday boy yesterday.
The errors have been there. Welcome back, Trea. Welcome back, errors. Trea Turner's another one. There's a great chance for him to step up. The guy stepped up for Trea in his absence. It's his turn to step up in theirs. And for Trea Turner to have the opportunity to help them win the game on his birthday, happy 31st birthday to him. Welcome to 31 Club. To be able to step up after a Saturday that wasn't good for the Phillies as a whole,
that was
including
rough.
Trea. Trea struggled 0 for on Saturday, and you come out Sunday and help them win the game. These are the things. Who's going to step up? In my opinion, it's not one person. It has to be by committee. Alec Bohm, 10th home run that he hits of the season.
That was a
Alec
piss
Bohm,
missile.
Nick Castellanos, Trea Turner, and even Bryson Stott. I need them to all step up.
Did I hear in stadium yesterday that was the furthest StatCast home run of Bohm's career? It was a liner just over the wall, but I guess the trajectory on it, I feel like I heard that in stadium yesterday.
Well, it was a historic home run in a weird way. Let me see if I can find it. So his home run was a 427-foot homer. And in 10 years of StatCast data, Phillies have only had one other home run travel 425 plus feet with a launch angle less than 20 degrees at Citizens Bank Park. That was our very own Michael Franco back in 2016.
Oh, look at you with the note right on it.
Yeah, because Alec Bohm had a 19-degree launch angle and a 427-foot home run.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't happen.
That thing was kind of like, so we were on the first base line in standing room. It was really hot yesterday, so a lot of people abandoned the seats. Luckily, our seats were in the sun upstairs, so we just knew we were going to roast, so we just stayed in the standing room. And then people started like retreating out of the seats, and like, so standing room got packed because it was really hot and humid yesterday. You saw that ball launch off the bat, and it looked like a liner to left center, but like you knew the distance was good. It was just if it could get over the wall. So that was a great shot by Bohm. And you're right, Trea Turner, huge opportunity yesterday on his birthday, and gets the big hit. It was a great atmosphere down at the stadium yesterday.
Yeah, talk us through it. Here, you lost your voice. I can tell.
I taught Skylar how to boo the umpires. The one where the ump got into it with Rob.
Oh yeah.
I forget who was that. That was Sir Anthony's pitch.
This is why Philly sports fans, we start young.
Yeah, so it was the Sir Anthony pitch. He had a 2-strike count. And they missed. It was one where he started pointing at Rob and basically saying like he gave him a warning. The whole stadium started getting in on the boo, and my nephew was there, and my daughters were there, and I was like, "Come on, ump!" And she was like, "Who are you yelling at?" And I was like, "I'm yelling at the umpire. He just blew Sir Anthony's strikeout." She was like taking mental notes.
Right.
Like, okay.
Like, okay, copy.
This is when we boo. All right. So I did yell once yesterday at the umpire. I felt like it was just
You only yelled once?
Yeah, I'm not a huge screamer. Home runs, like yays and high fives, but like, you had to let the ump hear it a little bit yesterday.
Oh, totally different.
And it was funny. I was with my cousin at the game yesterday, and he does a thing every year where he goes to a different ballpark. So he does one ballpark a year, and he makes like a family trip off of it.
Okay.
He is fresh off a Cincinnati Reds trip, and he really liked the stadium a lot. But he looked at me in like the 4th inning. He was like, "Oh my God, Cincinnati was like a moratorium compared to this place."
Jamie, what's that ballpark called?
Great American Field, Cincinnati. He said it was really good, and they had a huge misting station. And he was just like, now being here and looking back on Cincinnati, he was like, that was dead.
Dead. I tell people
it was like a
all
funeral.
the time.
And I was like, I know, this is late June baseball.
Right.
On a steamy hot day. 44,000 people.
Right. It's been 44. It's had sellout crowds like every game. It's loud. It doesn't matter if it's a sold out crowd. It's loud. People are cheering the entire time. They're all into it. I have gone to so many other games at ballparks, stadiums, arenas, wherever, and I'm like, this is boring. It's a boring experience to sit and like you're golf clapping every time, and everyone's sitting down and nobody's yelling or cussing or fussing. Like, what are we doing here? So I'm glad that you're getting
the umpire on a sixth inning.
Get the girls going early because it's never too young, because we bring the passion and the fuel. Interestingly enough, as you talk about, unfortunately, and one of the negatives though, the Marlins did have, I lost track, unfortunately. At one point, it was like 17 out of 19 two-out runs that they scored this past weekend against the Phillies, where they just rallied 2 outs and not only got a hit, but actually scored off of it, a home run, an RBI, whatever it was. I was like, that's not a great stat. Not a great stat. But there's some negatives that we are seeing that are, again, I'm not like overly worried. I'm trying to continue to tell myself that. I'm even now telling myself to it. I'm not worried at all.
My worry is at next to like a 0.
And actually, I hate to say this.
I think it's just I
don't know how to say this without sounding bad. To have Trey take time where he was injured, and then JT's injured, and now Bryce and Kyle are also injured, and you miss a substantial amount of games early in the season, could Spin Zone give them the rest to be fresh and be like, final push of the season, into the postseason, you get a whole new life. When you're injured for significant weeks and you have to miss your teams, you're watching your team play, but you're not out there, you get a whole new like motivation that when you do return back to playing, you are extra, excited and hyped up and ready to go, and you don't take it for granted. And I don't think any of these guys do. So my minor Spin Zone, which is a huge reach, is this gives them, it's been staggered enough. You get Trey back, you lose 2. You already have JT out to be able to be somewhat fresher as a season goes on.
For JT, I totally buy
it. JT definitely.
His knee,
Bryce is.
I'm a little older than JT, not by a ton, but like, I can't imagine doing that at, what is he, 33, 34 now?
He's, yeah.
That wear and tear on your knees and just your body. And he was getting beat up and hit and all over the place. So I buy the rest for him, definitely. I wish they would do the right thing and just send Stubbs down and keep Marshawn, but that's a different option.
To hit a home run.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I totally buy that with JT.
Yeah,
with
like
Bryce.
These are older guys where they don't. Like the only reason why I say it keeps them fresh is because some guys that are, especially like a young player, an Alec Bohm, for instance, that throws you out of your routine. You might not ever recover fully from being out for a few weeks. But an older guy that's more seasoned, that understands how to get back quicker, it should not take Kyle, JT, or Bryce long to return back to form when they do get back healthy.
We'll do a full injury update, but to your point, Trea Turner didn't need a rehab assignment.
Exactly.
So like those guys can,
they're going to be able to get healthy and get right back.
Yeah, we'll give you the full injury rundown here, update in a minute. But if you want to get down to the game like I was yesterday with the family and the girls and having a great time at the Phillies game, I suggest you get your tickets on the GameTime app, because the GameTime app is the official app of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. If you're one of those people that wants to just drive down to the ballpark and wait in the parking lot, monitor those tickets, and then pounce when it's at its lowest, go for it, because they have killer last-minute deals, all-in prices. You can get views from your seat, which you can, determine maybe if it's in the shade or the sun, which is big on those hot summer days. And their lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I'm headed to Wrigley Field on Wednesday with about 8 of my close cousins and sister and brothers-in-law and everything. It's going to be a blast. And we used the GameTime app when we went out there because it's so simple. Priority last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% buying last-minute tickets, whether it's sports, comedy, theater, etc., music. I was at a music concert on Friday night. GameTime app, boom, got you covered. All-in pricing, low price guaranteed. GameTime ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, Create an account and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just create an account and redeem PHLY for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
And when you're at the ballpark and it's sunny and hot, you need some nice Shady Rays to be able to get through the heat. Blocking out the sun, enjoying the game, and getting ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized sunglasses. These shades won't break the bank, and they also don't break easily. They're very durable. They're very easy, smooth. I love the sleek design, and I also love the fact that as an independent sunglasses company, they offer these world-class products that have 5-star ratings by over 300,000 people. Their shades have the durable frames, the crystal clear optics. Look at the way that the light hits off of my Shady Rays. Oh my. They are the perfect choice for all outdoor adventurers, out of the ballpark, out of the beach, going hiking, whatever it is you're doing, make sure you're rocking some Shady Rays while you do it. They've got hundreds of options to choose from. So you will absolutely find a pair that fits your style, fits your swag, fits your fit, whatever it is that you're looking to match. Shady Rays has you covered. And over at Shady Rays today, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. You can head to shadyrays.com, use code PHLY, and get 35% off your polarized sunglasses. If you don't believe me, try them for yourself because they're rated, as mentioned, 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And the best part also, let's say you are in the ocean at the beach and the big wave knocks you over and you drop your Shady Rays, or you break them because you're frustrated at the ballpark. Don't worry, our friends at Shady Rays will exchange them for a new pair. They have the return worry-free within 30 days, and there's no risk when you shop because their team always wants to make sure to back you with personal and fast support to get you a new pair of Shady Rays to rock. So again, head over to shadyrays.com, use code PHLY, and get 35% off these polarized sunglasses to rock them while you are out enjoying the beautiful weather, all the adventures, all the games, all the sports, whatever it is you're doing with some Shady Rays.
All right, so a couple injury updates happened yesterday from Rob Thompson. No, I think it's all good news.
I know.
I personally, in my medical degree profession, I disagree with bringing Bryce Harper back, but that's okay. So Bryce Harper's hamstring, Rob Thompson compared to the Brandon Marsh hamstring injury that kept him out like 2.5 weeks, whatever it was, not the Trea Turner one that was 4 to 6 weeks. Harper has been cleared to hit the pool and the weight room, and they think there's a possibility he could be back by the Dodgers athletic homestand right before the All-Star break. Now, to me, 6 games is not worth, and look, I'm not looking at his hamstring. I'm not a doctor. I think you guys know that. Did you know that? Did you guys know?
No, I thought you have a medical degree.
Oh, okay, good. I fooled you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm so fooled.
What have we been doing this whole time?
Yeah, what?
You just
I thought you were a residential doctor.
Now you're just not a resident anymore?
Yeah,
like, what are we doing?
I hate to break it to you guys, but I personally, I don't think the 6 games is worth it. Now, he probably wants to play in the All-Star game, and he probably wants to be on the field as soon as possible, and it's why we love Bryce Harper. To me, for a guy, you know, right around age 30, 31, to have his first soft tissue injury and possibly get a whole additional week of rest on it, I don't see the 6 games being worth it. Obviously, my opinion means nothing in this. I would just give him the extra rest and say, Bryce, if you want to play in the All-Star game, play 2 innings, that's fine. But, like, why don't we just chill on your Phillies appearances until after the break? That's my feelings on it, but good news, he could be back before the All-Star break. Does Dr. Washington have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I don't like this at all. I used to... I basically have medical experience because I wanted to be a doctor. So basically, I'm a doctor.
So you're with me.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
The great minds agree.
As someone that actually has messed up her hamstrings several times and did rush back, I did rush back. And I remember playing soccer, limping around, couldn't even fully run because without a full hamstring, you can't stride and run. And I was like a pogo stick out there. And now mine, I came back because it was like, we were in the middle of our conference tournament and I was not missing the conference tournament and we actually won it. So I had to be there. So I get it. I understand where Bryce is coming from, but this is not the tournament. This is not the postseason. We're not talking about playoff baseball right now. We're talking about you getting back for the All-Star game But as you mentioned, probably getting back for the Dodgers series in general, just to give you time to get a couple games under your belt. Hamstrings are a really tricky injury, and I don't love how he exited the game. That concerns me. That doesn't scream only out for a week. He seems pretty hobbled.
It's
leaving.
The first one he's ever been through.
And it's the first one he's ever been through. So he doesn't know how to handle it, how his body's going to respond to it. And so I think in his mind, the hard part with hamstrings is you feel fine. You're moving around. Every once in a while you feel a twinge that reminds you like, oh, shoot, I'm hurt. But you kind of feel fine until you don't. So I think to rush Bryce Harper back because he mentally feels ready. Physically, I don't think he's going to be ready a week from now. Would I love to see him back out there? Absolutely. This past weekend without Kyle, without Bryce, was really hard to watch. But I'd rather have him healthy as the season progresses, miss another week. Maybe you don't get a chance to play in the All-Star game. Or as you mentioned, Jamie, you figure out a way to play an inning or two. Your health is more important than rushing back for July baseball. That's what it comes down to. Bryce Harper is a big piece of this team. You need him at 100% more come September, October than you need him right now at 60%. There's no reason to rush. Had we been in a later part of the season, totally different discussion. But I think right now, given the schedule, they actually have some days off. Today, they're off. They're off next Monday. So there's some days that you don't even have a game as a team. Like, you can minimize how much you're missing right now. Then there's the All-Star break where obviously the Phillies aren't playing any games. So Spinorama, you might not be able to play in the All-Star game, but during that break, there are no Phillies games for you to miss. So if you can take this time where you actually have over the next couple weeks, days off, no games, get yourself healthy, I'd rather do that. I'd rather have ugly baseball without Bryce for a couple weeks if it means he's back 100%.
Yeah, just 6 games is just not worth it to me to rush it when you can get a whole additional like week off. So that's the update on him. Now, Kyle Schwarber, Rob Thompson called his injury very, very mild. It looks like everybody fully expects Kyle Schwarber to return on July 9th when his 10-day IL stint is retroactive until. So it looks like he'll be back 8 days from now. So that's pretty much at the same thing, right? Like right after the Braves series.
His also seemed... We didn't even see him hurt. I didn't even
see when he did it.
So for him to be able to exit the game on his own accord,
he was talking after the game like he was pretty much fine.
And a groin is a lot easier to recover from than a hamstring.
Yes. So good news there on Kyle Schwarber. Only 8 more days without him. Don't worry, because the leadoff hitter is needed.
It's a minor break built in.
Yeah. Now JT Realmuto was supposed to take batting practice and throw on the field prior to the game yesterday. It appears he should be good shortly after the All-Star break. They didn't say first series, but it does seem like shortly after the All-Star break, JT Realmuto is going to be back rejoining this team. So that's great news.
That is fantastic news. And that's right on schedule because he was originally slotted to be back right after the All-Star break. I just feel like July is a great time as we keep talking through. Like, the more I think about it, also with it being hotter in general, like, I don't know, just take your time. There's no rush. JT and Kyle should be back. So let them come back before Kyle definitely before Bryce returns. But I know in the chat, Linda's upset because she was ready for that Bryce versus Shohei showdown. We will get that later in the season. It's going to happen, but I'd rather it happen with Bryce at 100% than rushing back.
Yeah. And good news on Andrew Painter.
Yeah.
I did not expect to see any updates on Andrew Painter in a throwing session, but the current number one overall prospect in the Phillies system is throwing 25-pitch bullpens. This was according to Phillies Nation. Every Tuesday and Friday. He's only throwing fastballs and changeups, so he's currently not doing the breaking stuff, which can be tough on an elbow and Tommy John. But Rob Thompson also didn't rule out him pitching in some simulated games, which are obviously a controlled setting, before the end of the year. Now, the last time we kind of heard a real update on him was Dave Dombrowski in, what was that, late January or early February? And he said, I don't anticipate him throwing much this year at all. Like, the way he kind of painted the picture was if he starts throwing in November, December, like, that would be a positive.
Right.
He's throwing bullpen sessions, granted, just fastball and changeup already. So I think this is a really good sign that potentially he could I don't know, maybe contribute as early as opening day next year. Like, it's still going to be rough, and you're probably going to want to get him in AAA. But it's certainly a quicker timeline than I was anticipating.
Yeah,
so that's a positive.
Honestly, the biggest thing that we keep hearing from everything coming around, Andrew Painter and himself included, is how they aren't rushing. They're not trying to get back. And there absolutely is no need to. And so because of that, the way they keep talking, it just seems like, as you mentioned, we would see him more in the summer of 2025. I know everything keeps saying, when they say 2025, it's like, what does that mean? Are we talking spring training? Are we talking opening day? Are we talking July?
We're talking the day after Super 2 wraps up and they can have him under team contract, team control for another season. That's exactly the day that Andrew Painter makes his debut.
Yeah, that makes most sense.
It's encouraging to hear. And it did feel like, honestly, before there was the talk. Okay, so the reason why I felt like they started slowing things down was because people were talking on the reverse, that Andrew could be late 2024, that we could see him, and that he's great. He's doing great, and his rehab's going so well. When will we see him? When will we see him? So encouraged to hear that there's a time that's finally been kind of like said that, or an idea of a timeline, because now to know he's going twice a week, throwing 25, not doing the full gamut, but at least getting some pitches out of his system. That means we're moving forward. Finally heard something from Andrew Painter. He's like the ghost. I don't know. I feel like he's the guy that we never hear anything about him. We don't really know what's going on. Like, where is he? What is he doing?
It's good to hear an update. The other update is Taijuan Walker is throwing weighted baseballs. He's throwing fastballs only, trying to get his arm strength back up and letting the blister heal. He's going to start throwing splitters again, maybe in the next week or 2 weeks, and could join. He's not going to join before the All-Star break. He's another guy post All-Star break. Look, they're going to need Taijuan. I mean, unless Michael Mercado goes out here tomorrow night and shuts down Wrigley Field and has a great performance and then keeps it going for another 2 starts after that, Taijuan Walker is coming back to this team.
Yeah,
so
it's happening.
The only realistic option here is to hope that Taijuan Walker can eat some innings up for you, can keep you in some ball games before the end of the year, and then you don't have him on the playoff roster, and life is good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that blister's causing some problems. It might have opened up again or something. I don't know what's happening here. Blisters are actually really annoying, in all seriousness. It's like a stub toe. It's just like so painful, and it's just lingering, or a paper cut, like you randomly, especially on your fingers. So gosh, take your time, Taijuan. But I'm glad we were able to bring this injury update brought to you by Dr. Lynch and Dr. Washington.
Yeah,
because there's some great positives coming out.
No negatives.
And the time frame continues to be around the All-Star break, that coming out of the All-Star games, you're going to get these guys back. Seems like they're taking their time. Bryce is the only one that's extremely concerning with him trying to rush back next week. But if Kyle's going to be back next week,
I wouldn't even say extremely, because he returned from his elbow surgery so freakishly fast that I'm not overly concerned about it. I just would prefer it because what's 6 games ultimately? You still have an 8-game lead. I
think what makes me concerned about it is I don't want him to re-aggravate it. You come back and you make it worse, because hamstrings have the tendency to do that. Like a bone injury or anything like that, totally different. But a hamstring injury, you can make it worse by rushing back too soon. And that's my concern of this is your first time, you're not really sure. So yeah, overall, lots of positives for the most part of having a timeline for when these guys will get back, knowing they're going to be okay, and knowing that, things should get better very soon. You know where else things get better very soon, guys? And with our friends that are pharmacists and also the actually medically trained pharmacists, not us here that are pretend doctors. That's our friends over at Rite Aid, of course, because at Rite Aid, they've got everybody there to help with whatever you need. They've got pharmacists specifically trained to help, whether it's with immunizations or any vaccinations or any questions you have around medications. They've got all the recommendations for you with our pharmacists. And so they are tremendous over at Rite Aid of doing a good job providing you with all the support that you need. What I love about the pharmacy services is when you walk in there, as someone that had this experience myself, if you have a question, if you're unsure, if they have tons of different options of medications and vaccinations and things to look for, well, don't worry. They've got pharmacists there that can help answer those questions, give you the support that you need. But also they've got some great technology and tools for you. They've got the My Pharmacy account at Rite Aid, which allows you to be able to refill your prescriptions, schedule any vaccines, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for prescription notifications. They also have a nice mobile app That's right, the Rite Aid mobile app, guys, that you can download today right on your phone. And with that, you can also transfer or refill prescriptions or get any sort of medication reminders. Tons of ways to help support you. Make sure to protect you and your family with Rite Aid. In addition to all the great things that they have in terms of medication, listen, wherever you stand on vaccines and medicines and things, Rite Aid has the full gamut. They've got the natural herbs and the natural types of options for you as well. They've got all types of things depending on what you're looking for you and your family. And today, you can transfer those prescriptions to Rite Aid. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid has those caring pharmacists ready on standby, ready to answer any of your questions and help you stay healthy. You can also get your prescription along with anything at Rite Aid that you may need, including those over-the-counter medicines, the sunscreen. Maybe you're headed out to the pool and you want to make sure to stock up on a pool float or some goggles for your little ones. They've got all that you need: household products, cleaners, snacks, drinks. I went into Rite Aid to stock up the cooler to head out for some fun. So over at Rite Aid, they've got everything you need, and they also have that pharmacy team that's ready to help with anything that you need as well. So head over to your local Rite Aid, easy to find on pretty much every corner, to get started, to get whatever it is you're looking for to make sure you can stay healthy and continue enjoying the beautiful summer weather and all the summer fun.
Yeah, and let me tell you about what's going on here at PHLY, because this time of the year has been absolutely awesome and I think really shows off why us here at PHLY hopefully are changing the game in town a little bit, because we have some of the absolute best writers in town. When you can hop in a Discord channel at NBA Free Agency and talk with Devon Givens, Derek Bodner, and Kyle Neubeck, that is cool shit. When you can hop in the Flyers channel and talk to Charlie O'Connor live from the draft in Vegas and get updates from Bill and Kelly down at Chicky and Pete's during the draft show, today's free agency, it's just awesome. It's a great community we have going on here, and the diehards are rolling in lately, and it's awesome to see. We got a ton of cool events coming up, and we're having our first annual Liberty Open July 13th at Valley Brook Country Club over in Blackwood, New Jersey. There's the graphic right there. We got a 2 o'clock shotgun start, 18 holes with a cart, early bird pricing, tournament gifts and tee prizes, a Taste of Philly dinner and post-round ceremony at the Pavilion, unlimited draft beer for 2 hours post-round, contests and team prizes on the course. It's going to be an awesome time. There's so many benefits of becoming a diehard member here at PHLY, like discounts on upcoming events, free merchandise with your subscription, invites to our Discord, and tons of great stuff. So I highly encourage you all to join the Discord channel. Plus, you get the unlocked writing of all, basically the best writers in town: Zach Berman, Bo Wolf, Les Bowen, Jim Salisbury, John Foley, Charlie O'Connor, Alex Appleyard. You got Derek Bodner and Kyle Neubeck. It is awesome. So please consider joining up here at PHLY and becoming a diehard, because I promise you'll get your value in return. All right, Renee. So anything else from the weekend you want to hit on? Yeah. I think, it's just like one of those.
I do.
They split. I'm happy.
Go ahead, say it. Say it.
What, Coward Series?
There you go.
No, that's fine. They split. It was a good Coward Series because they were down 2-1 and got the split. It's only a bad Coward Series when you're up 2-1 and get the split. Any other takeaways from the weekend?
Yeah, there's some other numbers. One thing I saw, Danny in the chat was mentioning, it is Bryce Harper. He was the fastest position player driver to return back from Tommy John. So yes, if he feels ready to play,
wants to play.
He's going to play. Nobody's stopping Bryce. Let's get that straight. Some other numbers and nuggets for you guys from the weekend. So, where do I begin? And they're not great nuggets, unfortunately. But we saw for Ranger Suarez, that was the first time in his 83 career starts that he failed to record a strikeout.
That was weird.
That was weird. That was very weird.
Chalk it up
he
to
threw
an anomaly,
first pitch strikes to just 13 of 26 hitters.
Only
and
2 swinging misses? And is that in the notes? I think he only had 2 swinging misses yesterday. It was just one of those off days.
The last Phillies pitcher to go up against at least 26 batters and not record a K was Ben Lively back in June of 2017. So we're getting all the negative juju out of here. Also, we did see on the flip side a positive. Christopher Sanchez looked phenomenal. Love to see Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Sanchi.
Jeez.
We haven't even, I know.
I mean, a complete game shutout.
I know.
It feels like a week ago.
101 pitches.
That was awesome to
Sanchi,
see his reaction with the fist pump.
emotion from Christopher Sanchez.
He was fired up because, Jim Salisbury says it all the time, like with Ranger and Christopher, it's not like the stuff wasn't there before. It's they mentally are kind of believing in themselves and their stuff. And I think for Sanchez to get a complete game shutout like that, I think mentally is just like,
oh, it's beautiful.
Like, I got this shit. I got it on lockdown, you know?
I love that moment for him, especially right now. He's also had some ups and downs, and he's locking in. It's his first full season as a starter in majors, and he's really doing well. On the other side, let's go. I'm going to keep alternating between the good and bad. We did see that.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah. So we saw the first time the Phillies left the bases loaded in each of the first 2 innings of a game since June 2012 yesterday. And that lineup, this is Paul Casella that had this nugget, so I can't take credit. The lineup for that day, Jimmy, we got J-Roll, we got Juan Pierre, Hunter Pence, Jim Thome, Shane Victorino, Carlos Ruiz, your boy, Ty Wingington, Hector Luna, Michael Martinez, and Cliff Lee was pitching that day. That was the last time that the Phillies left the bases loaded in each of the first 2 innings of a game.
Yeah, there was a lot of men left on yesterday. Not good. And that's kind of, like, there's positives and negatives to it.
Positive here?
Positives are guys are on base. Negatives, it's not going to last forever. We're not getting them home.
Right.
So we'll revisit the men left on base. And this did exist prior to all the injuries, so it's not like it's new to them.
Right.
But
exactly.
Ultimately, like, what are you going to do? You can't force a guy to hit with runners on.
Bingo. And by the way, it was 3 only swing and misses for Ranger. The 6.3% whiff rate was the worst of his career.
Yeah, that was just
But okay, we're not talking about it anymore.
Anomaly.
Yeah, we're moving on. But on the other side, the Phillies did make I don't know how you want to take this history because it's not a great number. We don't love this. But it was the first time that the Phillies were able to win a game with 5+ errors since 2005.
Wow. It's a long time.
That's a very long time.
Yeah, that was pretty sloppy.
So they squeezed out a sloppy win.
Yeah.
Leaving men stranded, and then also errors, which Trea Turner's back. Here comes the errors. And then other than that, the last positive was Yoro. Got called back up. Made a play with his legs.
Did you see the story? I forget who had it, but Yoro and Cody Clemens, it might have been Alex Coffey, I forget. Apparently the one flight they were going to take up either got canceled or pushed back, so they called an audible and flew Frontier. And somebody was like, oh, you guys fly Frontier? And Cody Clemens was like, damn right, we'll do whatever it takes to get back up.
Absolutely.
We'll even fly Frontier. What a great advertisement for Frontier Airlines.
I love that. Yeah, seriously.
So that was really cool to hear.
We may not be the best airline in the world, but if you need to get your AAA call-ups to the stadium on
we
time,
might get you there. We might not, but we'll try.
Big shout out to Cody Clemens for coming out and signing autographs yesterday. Him and Brandon Marsh
love that.
Stopped by and signed a lot of autographs for the kids. The adult that, like, reaches the arm over the kids to try and get a ball signed
is annoying. It could be for somebody. Maybe there's a kid that's
you have to have your kid there with you. I'm cool with that.
So if you were at a game
I would bring
and the girls
Skylar
aren't
down
with you, but if the girls aren't with you and you get a chance.
No, I don't think I would.
You're not going down for an autograph.
I don't think I would, no.
Okay. You don't, grown man don't want to go get an autograph?
No, you need the kid with you.
Otherwise it's just creepy. Okay. Fair.
Well, not creepy. It's just like let the kids.
Right. But that's what makes it, I think, a little weird. If you're stomping over kids, you're moving over kids.
Because obviously I can reach over them and give the ball. So, like, everybody around me, because usually the little ones have their parents, like, close by. Everybody that would see me without kids would be doing what I would be doing, which is, oh, this fucking guy. Oh, great. This adult.
Pulling the Zach Campbell.
Yeah.
Running from section to section trying to get a baseball.
Oh, look at this guy. He's 6'3", and he just puts his hand over the kids and gets an autograph. What a creep.
Well, it's for my daughters. I think on top of it.
It's for my daughters, I promise.
Our industry, like, because we work in this industry, and especially because we're on this particular show, it would be extra weird if they're isn't that Jamie Lynch?
Jamie's
Haven't you worked in the media for 2 decades in this town?
Jamie's like knocking kids over to get a Cody Clemens autograph.
Yeah, sorry. So
that would be hilarious.
Brandon Marsh did sign 3 for my nieces and nephew. Skylar didn't get it, and because she ran over to the other section and only had her brother's balls and hers. So when she came back with 3 autographed Brandon Marsh balls, and I had bought Skylar and Paige each a ball, there was some waterworks. So I made a promise to her that I would get her an autographed ball.
Okay.
I will make that happen. I'll probably just buy it on eBay.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah.
But shout out to Cody Clemens and Brandon Marsh for stopping by and signing for the kids. It's such a cool thing to see when the guys do that. Like, I wish they all did it, to be honest with you. I know that's not realistic, but man, to see these kids light up when they get a Cody Clemens autographed ball was so cool. So shout out to those guys. That's really cool stuff.
So my brother, who I've told you guys is not a baseball fan, not a sports fan by any means, right? still to this day has a Hanley Ramirez baseball signed because
awesome.
he was like over the moon that a professional signed. And my brother doesn't like sports. So like you have kids that are diehard baseball. Like your daughters are becoming diehard baseball fans like before your eyes. And I think that's the coolest thing in the world, that like they want to enjoy the game with you. So like to see kids that just love the game the way that like you love the game, the way that we love the game, it's so cool to see that. So
and it
like,
takes them 10 minutes and they probably you know, touched like 40, 50 kids' lives.
Right. So like you left an impact on a bunch of these kids' lives, whether they love baseball, whether they don't. Like, and whether you play for the Phillies or you play for the at the time Florida Marlins. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
It's so cool.
It's just so cool. Making that effort, the little bit of time goes such a long way.
Like when Reese was back, what was that? 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh,
And the little girl had the Reese, you're my favorite player sign, and he came over and took a picture with her and signed the ball for her. Like that girl is hooked for life.
Yes.
It's so cool to see when guys do that. So
it's such a major moment.
And me and my cousin's wife were talking. We're like, man, this is such a like good team.
It
like,
really is. They get it.
All the guys
they get it.
Are, you know, they play hard for the most part. They kind of get it. They understand what a cool environment it is to play in. And it's just such a likable team on top of everything else. So
the only thing that I have to say that annoys me, because I love players going the extra mile. I love them doing, you know, all the little things for the fans especially. But don't do it at your opponent's ballpark, Jazz Chisholm. What is up with his love with the Fanatic?
I think that's great. Him hijacking the ATV. I love that stuff.
What I took from this is, does Jazz secretly want to be a Philly? Is this his way? Is he he loves it here? He was having fun with the Fanatic, and it happened the entire weekend. It wasn't a one-time thing. He kept it going. It was a cute moment, but in that moment, I was like, Jazz, what are you trying to say to us? I'm overanalyzing this. I'm getting irrational. Yes, because you're having so much fun with the Fanatic. The Fanatic is the guy's guy. We know that.
I love when the opposition gets into it with him. Like, that takes me back to the Tommy Lasorda and Fanatic days. And sometimes I think Tommy was legit pissed, but, like, it was awesome to see. So I love, who was it? Chipper Jones used to mess with him a lot, I think.
Do we see this in other ballparks? I feel like the Fanatic is probably...
Well, no, because there's only one Fanatic in Major League Baseball.
That's what I mean. Like, nobody else
one
compares.
Mascot. Everybody else
Not
is
only
dumb.
do the Phillies have the sellout crowds and the loud atmosphere, but nobody else's mascot is having this much fun with players. And it's, as you mentioned, like, it's cool. Like, it wasn't... At first, I was like, oh, Jazz. But I was like, oh, wait. I feel like you like
fun.
it here.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to be here? Are you...
Players want to play here.
Jock was trolling us because he loves the Fanatic, apparently. Jazz loves... You know, everybody loves the Fanatic. So that was a
We
moment.
are 29 days away from the trade deadline. And yesterday was the first time I've had this legit, realistic thought. And no, I'm not going to talk about Luis Robert. There's plenty of time to talk
I thought
about
this
it.
was coming. Okay.
I think they might actually DFA Whit Merrifield. I'm beginning to think this is a real possibility for the first time all year. The guy is cooked. It's a sunk cost at this point. Like, he really, obviously you want to bridge this injury landscape that you're, you know, in the middle of. And so you want to use him and his versatility during that time. But after that, like, Rojas and Clemens can still go down, but David Dahl, Christian Pache, you know, a couple other guys, like, it's kind of do or die time.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I would take Weston Wilson over Whit Merrifield right now. So, like, they are 29 days away from the trade deadline. You're also kind of 29 days away from not officially making your playoff roster set, but, like, having a pretty good idea of what it is. And I just don't see where Whit Merrifield contributes to that. I don't know what he does well anymore. It's just bad.
It's bad. It's bad.
So we'll see. I don't know if it's realistic or not, but for the first time I went, oh, this might be actually.
So
it's not good. Do you have numbers on Whit?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Obviously, we know coming in with that 1 year, $8 million deal,
which I thought was a great deal at the time.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. You know, it's fine. It's a 1 year deal. Like you always say, there's no bad 1 year deals except maybe this one. And for Whit to come in,
then I don't think it's that bad.
No, it's not.
It's not my money.
It's 1 year, not my money at all. I'll take that $8 million though myself. But for him to come in as the utility man and be that piece that can help when injuries happen, to slot into any role and help, that's what you thought you were getting. However, Whit so far, the first 84 games, In 138 at-bats, Witt has only had 26 hits for an average of a 1.88.
Not good.
He's not even giving you anything at bat.
At least, like Christian Pache is only batting, I think, 192 or 194?
Yeah, but how much do you see him?
But at least he's giving you, like, defensive runs saved.
And that's the other thing, because on the other side, Witt, who can play second base, can play third base, can play anywhere needed, outfield, whatever. He's slow. He's looking slow.
Cody Clemens is a younger,
He's not reading the ball
right
well. He's not getting there. He's not making plays. He's been involved in a number of, like, very questionable missed opportunities he's not giving you anything. So,
Tyler, thoughts? Could it happen?
I've been thinking this for a while. So to me, the issue becomes I understand there's versatility. I understand that there's he can play 4 or 5 different positions. His average exit velocity this year is 83.4.
It's poop.
He's not hitting the ball hard. He's not barreling. His bat speed is slow. It's slower than it's ever been. He's been the type of hitter. We've talked about him for a long time because the one thing that excited me about bringing him in, even in a diminished role, like I wasn't expecting Kansas City Whit Merrifield. I wasn't even expecting first 2 years Toronto Whit Merrifield. I was expecting a serviceable bench piece who can play multiple positions, give you professional at bats. His bat speed has slowed down so much that he is late on everything. Yeah. His barrel rate is low. His hard hit percentage is low. His whiff rate is high. His strikeout rate is high. Like all of the metrics that tell you that he is struggling, he is struggling in. And then defensively, he's not providing you a whole lot. He's a -5 in range factor. He's in the 7th percentile defensively. I know that he can play multiple positions for you at this point, but you talk about a sunk cost. You're paying the guy no matter what.
Yeah.
I have been questioning this I've been questioning this for a couple of weeks now, and quite frankly, I think that come trade deadline, there is a very realistic opportunity for the Phillies to DFA him and provide Cody Clemens with more at-bats or provide him with a roster spot because he's your utility guy at this point. He can play first. He can play third. He's kind of getting to a point where he can play left in a capacity that you need him to. He can play a little second. He's your utility guy at this point. I think Whit Merrifield probably knows. He's a vet. He probably knows that he's not long for this team. I would imagine when everybody comes back healthy, when Harper's healthy, when Real Muto's healthy, and they make at least a trade, because I think we're all under the pretense they're going to make at least a trade.
Luis Roberts happened. I'm speaking it into existence.
Whit Merrifield I would believe that Whit Merrifield and Christian Pache both will not be on this roster come August 1st.
The thing about Whit is he's also 35. Like, we're not talking about a young guy that you can fix anything. This is it. His numbers have completely continued to just decrease over the seasons because he's aging. That just happened. That he's not. Yeah, he was stealing bases and utility piece in the past. That's not anymore. And you talk about on the other side, Cody Clemens and Edmundo Sosa are utility pieces. That I would rather have
yesterday.
Yeah, like I would 1,000% rather have them because they can play in any role and they're giving you good at bats. And he's got 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, a 560 OPS, and a 188 average on the season. And he's giving you nothing. He's not even out. He's like a cone at times. Defensively, he's not even making plays. Defensively, he's not able to steal bags and he's not able to get hits. What is he out there doing but just holding a spot on the lineup when you need a body? Well, so I do think temporarily, sorry, Tyler.
No, you're good.
I do think temporarily, as you guys mentioned, right now at the injuries, fine. But when this team has everybody healthy and gets back, you can absolutely count on Cody Clemens and Edmundo Sosa alone. David Dahl, if you need him. These are guys that you can plug and play. They're going to give you more than Whit Merrifield. You just eat the money. $8 million, take it.
So I think when you bring up Sosa's on a different plateau of a bench piece for this team.
Course.
Like Sosa is not in any kind of he is your first piece off the bench. You always have a different plateau
so
for
what does Whit provide?
Your first.
But that's the thing.
He's your
Whit
first
doesn't
bench
fit
piece.
Anywhere in there.
Right. So he's your first bench piece. Your backup catcher is safe as well. You're always going to carry
Rafael
2 catchers. Listen,
it needs to be
Rafael
Marchand.
Agree on that. It's going to be Marchand next year. You're just going to have to wait out one more year of Stubbs. But those 2 guys are safe from roster construction or moves, right? And then the second tier is whoever is your 4th outfielder. And in this case, that is a debate between, are you saying is it Dahl or is it Pache? And I think that they probably consider the left-handed bat a value piece off the bench, and so it's probably Dahl. At that point, then you go to the next tier down.
But if Cody Clemens becomes that left-handed bench piece, then is Dahl needed?
That's Clemens is in that first echelon, I think, or maybe even in the second. Maybe he's in the second one.
He's in the second.
Maybe he's in the second one because to me it's Sosa in the backup catcher because again, backup catcher's safe. Then you probably go Clemens as your third bench, piece, and then it really is a matter of what are you carrying?
Rojas,
are you carrying 5?
Rojas.
5 off the bench or 4 off the bench?
And Pache.
So I would say the first player gone when everybody's healthy is going to be Marchand. Because of the fact that he's got options and they're going to keep Stubbs as their backup catcher. After that, you start the consideration of Pache and Merrifield.
Yeah, and
Rojas. Tell me when to go.
And
Tell me when to go.
Pache and Rojas are the same. You know what I mean? They're both like 190 hitters that'll save you some defensive runs. Anyway, I think it's the days are short for Witt here. All right, the Phillies are headed to Wrigley Field this week. I am out of here tomorrow. Actually going to be attending Wednesday's game. Tuesday, my Airbnb is in Wrigleyville, so maybe I'll pop into one of the bars and just watch the game there. Should be a fun time. I will check in with you guys at some point from out there. So here are the matchups for Wrigley Field this week. And Tyler, you're silly if you don't want to go to Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. You're still silly for that take.
You're once again putting words in my mouth that never came out of my mouth.
Tyler hates Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. We get it. All right, Tuesday night, Michael Mercado. We talked last week that maybe with the off day, you just throw Zach Wheeler on Tuesday, and Mercado makes his debut over the weekend. But no, they're going with Michael Mercado on Tuesday versus Hayden Wesneski, who started the year in the bullpen for them. I did it. I did it, guys. Started the year in the bullpen, has made about 4 starts for them recently. His numbers are actually okay. I know he's like a 3.5 ERA guy. I think he's got 41 Ks over 40 innings pitched, 1-ish whip, but Philly should be able to get to him a little bit. We'll see how Michael Mercado does. That's one to keep an eye on. Wednesday's game, which I'll be at, I really lucked out here because this is a great pitching matchup. Zach Wheeler versus Shota Imanaga. That should be awesome. And then Thursday, a little day game, which Wrigley is, of course, known for, the 2:20 start. Christopher Sanchez versus Jamison Tallon.
You had
Tallon.
It. No.
Tallon.
No.
All right, you take it.
You were Tyone.
Tyone.
That's right. There's no way Jamie was getting that.
I did know that one, but
but I'm proud of you. You got.
Thank you.
You got one.
I got Wesneski.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So those are your pitching matchups. Should be a good series. The Cubs are fighting for their lives.
They might be farting too.
They probably are farting.
Farting and fighting.
By the way, did you see what happened to our CHGO colleagues this weekend?
Yes, in Milwaukee. That was nuts.
So the Cubs show did a bus trip to Milwaukee. Our CHGO counterparts for the Cubs took a bus trip. They got to Milwaukee, and apparently Greg Braggs and a couple other guys, I think I don't know if it was Sean Anderson from the White Sox show, but a couple guys were on an escalator at Milwaukee Stadium, and it malfunctioned, and everybody fell down. Greg Braggs from the Bears show said he had a leg injury. They had to have ambulances show up at the hospital. He said old people were falling down and getting tumbled on.
Was it just like fast, going quickly down?
I think it
flattened?
I don't know the details of how it malfunctioned, but I know it malfunctioned to the point where a lot of people fell down.
Which
is
I missed
horrifying.
That. Yeah, I didn't even know. I don't even know how.
The whole CHGO trip wasn't on it, but certain guys were and experienced it.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, isn't that horrifying?
Oh my gosh, it makes you not want to get on an escalator.
I know.
Were they going up? Now I need more details. I
don't know if they were
can't
going
handle
up
this because
I think they were going up.
I'm now curious. I need to know more.
Well,
if you're going up or going down, is it?
Yeah.
I think they can flatten
escalators.
They
can.
Or I don't think they can go super fast. So, that's terrifying.
But scary situation there.
I don't even know what I would do.
All right, we're getting out of here. But today is Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh my God, I know. People on social media were like, this again.
Yes. What is it until 2031 or forever?
2035.
2035.
I thought it was. Because they have 11 years left.
What
would you do?
Should be enshrined in a Hall of Fame somewhere.
How do we make this happen for us, guys?
You become a world-class athlete that hits dingers and plays a good third
you're going to get $20 a year.
What do
I'm sure you can talk to Vince about deferring some of your contracts in 2055.
What do I need to do to get a contract where I get paid once a year? It's like the weird, it's like
It's 1.35 million.
Yeah, and it's all these numbers. But all I saw is it's 9 digits. I saw 2 commas. That's all I need to see.
So you're Bobby Bonilla, July 1st. What a day.
The one thing people forget, because the Mets get like the brunt of the joke, the Orioles pay him $500,000 on this day every year too.
Like cha-ching.
Good for Bobby Bonilla and his
what's
agent.
he doing these days, I wonder?
The Orioles are paying Bobby Bonilla still. They're still going to pay Chris Davis from now until the sun burns out.
Wow. The new owners might just come in and be like, what's your one-time buyout?
Yeah, how much do I have to pay you?
Let's just settle this and move
Bobby
on, please.
Bonilla, what up, man?
And Ken Griffey Jr.
Where are you at?
I believe he collects his final Reds payment today as well. I think the kid got $3.5 million from the Reds. So congratulations to those guys on all their success on July 1st. That's really cool. Couple quick notes around Major League Baseball. Today, the Nats, the Washington Nationals, the team that the Philadelphia Phillies dominate, have called up one of the huge prospects from the Juan Soto deal, a 6'7", number 3 overall prospect in baseball. They're calling him their phenom prospect, James Woods. The outfielder is coming up. He apparently has some big-time pop. He led AAA qualifiers with a 353 average, a 463 on base, and a 1,058 OPS over 52 games this year for Rochester. I picked him up in our fantasy league, Renee.
Oh, brother. Does he get a countdown?
No,
because this is the first time he brings it up.
How'd you do this week?
I won again. I'm like 8-1 in my last 9. I'm kind of a buzzsaw. Look out.
I also won. Watch out. Great. I won twice in a row, and I'm back, baby.
Can I say something about this trade, the Juan Soto trade? So I will say this.
It's bearing some fruit.
I am going to preface this by saying, when you trade a superstar, you almost never win the trade.
Yes.
Because it's almost impossible to get the value back of a Juan Soto.
Was it Gore, Wood?
So Soto was really, really good in his full season in San Diego, and he's been damn near the best player in baseball this year.
If it wasn't for his teammate, he'd probably be the AL.
He might be the AL MVP. But now that James Wood is up, and I assume he's kind of the centerpiece of this whole thing. But now that James Wood is up and playing with the Nationals, you have your starting everyday shortstop in C.J. Abrams. Now, I know the defensive lapses with Abrams are there, but he can hit. We know that he can hit.
Guess what? We have our own defensive lapses at shortstop.
And you've got a guy who I think is probably on a good team, a middle of the rotation type of starter in Mackenzie Gore.
Sure.
So you've got now potentially 3 legitimate major leaguers out of that deal. You never, ever, ever win a deal when you move a Juan Soto type player. They did pretty darn good in this trade if James Wood can be as good as they think he's going to be.
If James Wood is as good as people think he's going to be, then yes. I think that's about as good as you can do when you're moving a player like that. Last note from around the league, rookie Wyatt Langford hit the first cycle of the Major League Baseball season. He stepped up to the 8th inning, only needing a home run to do it. And he did it for the Texas Rangers last night on Sunday Night Baseball versus was that the Orioles? I was watching some of that, but I was mostly doom scrolling NBA Twitter, waiting for Paul George to sign. So Wyatt Langford won for the cycle last year, the first of the Major League Baseball season. All right, that wraps it up for us today. You got something else?
Yeah, I do. 2 quick things, actually. One, as you talk about Juan Soto, he did have another injury this past weekend. He is apparently okay. They had to do x-rays on his hand. They came back negative. He played. Juan Soto's been picking up some nicks and bruises. And speaking of nicks and bruises, that escalator story, it was going down and picked up speed to about 10 to 15 miles per hour until somebody finally hit the emergency stop button. Imagine being on it was going down from the 400 section and just picked up speed.
That's horrifying.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, that is
horrifying.
Terrible. So Tyler and Renee are going to have you the rest of the week. We might be talking to Preston Mattingly this week.
Ooh, baby.
There is some post-game duties. There is a 4th of July, which we are off for.
Yes.
So a little bit of a funky week. Tomorrow is post-game.
Wednesday's
11 a.m. Friday's post-game.
Correct. So you guys can hang with us for this short holiday week. We're going to have a lot of fun this week. Yeah. You'll be out in Chicago. Tyler's going to be away on Friday. We have John joining us on Friday.
I'll check in
and Wednesday and Tuesday. John's joining us tomorrow and Friday for the post-game shows. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a fun week. I will be back next Monday on the Anthony Gargano show and then the rest of the week with you guys. So I won't see you again until next Tuesday. Wow. But we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us today. Go Phils. Let's hope they can take a series out at Wrigley Field. But that's it for me for the week. So I will see you next week here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Tyler, Renee, and John got you the rest of the week. Have a great rest of the Monday, everyone. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.